Hello, Calvario. How you guys doing? It's good to see you guys again. Well, in this case, it's good for you guys to see us because we can't see you,
Yeah.
And we're hoping that you are watching us. For those that are, and for those that are watching, it can share with the teens. We want to welcome you. We want to welcome all the youngsters that literally are freshmen this year, like you, for example, that are ninth grade, and then all of the teens that transition from junior high over to high school. Welcome. With that, we're going to go ahead and get started into our topic for today.
Change. Adapting to the challenges of COVID-19 gives high school schools the opportunity to provide what is uniquely possible in the schoolhouse while seeking new ways to fully use technology and community partnerships.
That's a lot of words that you got to say there, right?
Yeah.
It really is. But in reality, what it really says is that, you know what? We had to adapt to COVID-19. A lot of you are already doing the online classes at home. You're doing it online from your laptop at home. And, some of the things that we talked about in April, about May and June, and we were talking about how things were going to happen. It's kind of here. We're living it now, right? So a lot of the things are happening on Zoom, and they're happening on
Microsoft Teams
on Teams, and so many things where I'm used to it now. I get calls now, video calls consistently from my boss, my friends, and everything's online, and it just that's the direction we've taken. However, we could do that with church. I just don't think that church is business like that. I think church is intimate. I think church is that one place where healing happens, where salvation happens, where things, you come to find God, and you find peace, and you find enlightenment from God, because He opens up doors that only God can open. So that's the part that we missed. We talked about that since April, that we missed that intimacy of the church. But again, still addressing that change. Now, for the high school ministry, we talked about what that was like. We talked about for me, what it was like in high school versus you don't have that yet, but you will, right? You get in there, but it's a fresh start. Something different, yes, but something also good to embrace, because there's always change, and change brings along with it good and bad things. And we ask that stay patient, continue doing what you're doing. Let us know if you're going to school and in the classroom, and how that's working out for you. And we can definitely share that, and maybe give us some idea of how things are working for you. What's it like for you, doing things online versus school?
Online versus physical school. For me, I just wake up later than I usually have to wake up when I went to physical school. As soon as I take a shower and get dressed, I just open up my laptops, put my password in, open up the apps, Google Chrome and Microsoft, and then I just join my classes.
You're there. No driving there, no waiting. It's just faster, right? So it's kind of convenient, kind of nice.
Saves time, but it's just a bunch of work. Just bringing this and that.
What about sports? Can sports be done online?
Sort of.
Not really. I think the workout portion of it, maybe. What about music?
Yeah, that can be online.
It can be done. There's people taking music classes now, and it's instructions online, and everybody's seeing everybody, and they're probably listening to each other play and everything else. That could be done. Drama, that could also be done, right? What about arts?
Yes and no.
Yeah, you can. You can teach somebody how to do art via
but
life.
Perspective is always different.
Right. There's so many things that you can learn. It can still be done, right? Clubs can still be done too. I mean, if you have a drama club or a chess club, all those things can still be taught. Just not the same, right? When somebody's standing over your shoulder teaching you how to do things versus somebody just giving you instruction. So I think the one thing everybody misses the most is having an open campus to mingle, to hang out, to have a good time, right? That's the one thing, that intimacy that we miss. We also miss that at church. And that's why we want to provide that opportunity Saturday to come hang out with us, because you've been locked up in your room for a long time, or your house, or whatever. And regardless, even if you can still go out, it's still not the same as it used to be. So we want to provide a safe haven, a good space for you to be able to do that with. We have plenty of masks. We'll keep our social distancing to the best that we can. But we understand. We want to hug each other, high five. We still have places, restrooms to wash your hands and do all those good things that we need to do. But again, it's also important that as human beings we have that contact, right? So that's kind of one of those things that we talked about. I know we touched briefly on
It's now September, and in the majority of students have now returned to school and are now doing online classes from home. Some elementary schools are going face to face.
there is, and I think the main point we wanted to make on that is just the fact that there are probably some high schools that, especially the ones that are way out west, where they had less impact with COVID and there's less people and less people per capita, per city, per zip code. Some of these areas weren't hit that bad. You know, some of these areas may be going to school just like normal. And again, just really depends on where you live versus here where it's very dense, lots of people, and sometimes we have 3 or 4 families that live in one house, which is really dense. So some things are different, right? But I did want to mention just on an elementary point that there are schools here in Phoenix, like the Boss districts, where they're already going back to school pretty much
Face-to-face.
just like they did before, face to face, and this is K through 8th grade. So it is happening. Again, we talked about what it's like for the students going back to school, but again, you know, what it's going to look like once they approve it, who knows? I mean, if there is a vaccine right away, you get your vaccine, go to school, you're good. But we haven't got there yet, so I can only imagine, you know, still temperature checking. If you're sick, stay home kind of thing.
Yeah.
And we'll see how that kind of plays out. But I mean, this is going to kind of, we'll see what that plays out over the next few months.
Yeah.
For the Phoenix Union High School District, I know it's still going to be the first quarter, first 3 months. So right around
Till
November.
October, late
Yeah.
October.
They'll give us some heads up as to whether we're going back or see what direction we're taking. Again, some schools are closed. And then planning. So most importantly, I know we talked about during those early months about what it was going to be like during the summer. And, you know, for some kids, they took summer school online. They did it online all summer. Some of them, especially the schools that were all year round, those kids were all year round, but on their computer. And you may be one of those students. You may be one of those young men or young lady that could even tell us how that process went and how that's going for you. Reopening, again, that's still going to be based on what, you know, Doug Ducey and what our governor and what the state really has planned for us. I would say be patient. I think by this time most of you are already adapting, right, to what's changing.
Yeah.
But we really want to encourage you, though, that even though our education system is that way, that our church isn't handled the same way. I think when it comes to Christianity, it's so important that you protect that with everything that you have. That people are not telling us when we can and cannot do things. Recommendations are great, and we can follow recommendations for safety, for you know, to be considerate of others and to be in compliance of a good recommendation. But we should not be told
when we should do this, when we can open, and how many people we can have. It's our belief, and it's like you're limiting us to control us, and it's just not.
Yeah, that person, you just want to be careful of that. You know what? And I understand guidelines are guidelines, and I'm okay with that. But I think at the end of the day, you still got to be able to fight for what you believe in, and I think this is one of those times where just the world is changing. It's changing drastically and dramatically. And I think that if we don't embrace to what Christianity is, things can kind of get weird and people can take different directions. So we ask that you embrace the ministry, high school ministry for us, that you find a place, a safe haven to come and be safe and worship God and find other people that think like you. They have the same mentality. We talked about this, right? With that. We've also talked about some of the things that have changed drastically, like Amazon. Amazon is doing like crazy business. So much that they've opened 2 new warehouses in Arizona that are bigger than any warehouse they've had before.
And just stocked with products.
It is just, yeah, they've the biggest monopoly right now in the world. They're doing their thing, and you know what? It makes sense. Everybody's shopping from home, especially if you don't want to go to the store, right? You don't want to spend all day looking for what you're looking for. It's easier to do it online. So it's moved in that direction. One of the things we do want to stress about that is the alternative. You know, we talked about the alternative, which is doing your work online from your laptop and eventually doing it at school, or doing both, or doing online and home. We talked about money. With money, we still work, you know. Some businesses are allowed to stay open and function like normal, and they've been okay. Restaurants, for example. Restaurants, everything that they seemed and deemed was necessary, they've been open throughout this entire time. Education, again, a little bit scary on that end, but I think now that kids have signed up for school, funding for schools will still happen. With that, kind of jumps over to the church, though. You know, support the church, support with you know, your tithe, support with your gifts, with whatever you can, because right now the church is in a time of need, and is definitely in an area or in a time where society would love to see churches closed. They would just love to see it disappear, and we can't do that. We have to hang on to our belief of what we believe, knowing that the Bible is where we lean our Christianity from, and know that our faith is what we lean on. But again, we also need, it's important that we meet, and it's important that we have the congregation meet together, come together, but worship God.
Yeah.
What can we do?
Stay focused and pray for guidance. Allow God to lead the way as He has control. Adjust your learning to the options that are available to you. Stay connected and continue to go to church, and keep your high school ministry going strong. And question government authority over the church.
And what we mean by that is keep your eyes open. Look at what's really happening around the world. Look at what's happening in other states, in other counties, and just look. I mean, sometimes it's easy to just get lost in your own music and in your own school, and the world's happening. But it's also important that you know, you watch the news, that you watch other world news of what it looks like when other countries talk about the United States as far as what's happening in this country. Because it's interesting how sometimes you get real truth and real news from other countries that report on us versus our own news that's consistently just, unfortunately, there's a lot of fake news. There's a lot of stuff that's politically driven just for gain of politicians and gain of companies and people's interest, unfortunately, and not necessarily the people that is literally the people, you know, us, for example, the workers, the teachers, everybody else. And it's more focused on money for other reasons, right? Other agendas. The other question is that we ask is that you stay vigilant to see what's happening to the church, and look at how many churches possibly might be even closing, and think about how communities are being hurt by not having churches open, with some places reporting that crime rate is up, some places reporting that suicide rate is up, some places reporting that you know what, people are just in a time of need more than ever, and they're being restricted more than ever to certain numbers that can go to church, only certain amount of numbers, on, you know, social distancing, and so many of these things that are happening. And you know, our prayers that it's temporary, our prayers that, you know, this kind of thing, you know, blows over, and that we can get into the next phase of rebuilding from where we left off.
Yeah, for sure.
Church, again, this is a point in time where many Christians will be
tested.
Yes. Think about it. Think about how long some of us have been away from church. And we've done a lot of online church. We watched a lot of videos, and we listen to music, our videos, other Christian videos, and yeah, some of that is very fulfilling, but it's still not the same,
It's not
right?
the same experience of having it face to face and being able to question and learn more and just experience it right there.
Absolutely. So just question everything. Why are things happening? And ask questions. One of the things we talked about in the last video, we talked about Generation Z, right? We talked about
Yeah.
this being one of the smartest generations, where you have all technology on your hands. So do some research. Do some research. Find out what's going on. And then, if you can lead somebody else to church, please do so. If you can lead another teenager, a friend, a relative, sister, brother, cousin, whatever, anybody that you can bring in, please do so. I just think being exposed to Christianity is a first step into just a further step of salvation, healing, and just a different world and a different option to the world, because the world wants you to think that that is the right way, when in reality we know that it really is not. This world has its own agenda, and only God has the truth. So that's what we want to lead, this new group of teenagers that we're trying to establish, our new group of young men and women for the teen, the high school ministry that's happening. Hopefully we can see some of you that were there before, and hopefully we get to meet a whole bunch of new teenagers as well. Welcome, and we'll go ahead and put our information on here. I know you really can't see this like a whole lot great, but we can kind of zoom in a little bit on that, on the phone number, the email. Again, my email at neonight@gmail.com. My phone number's on there, my son's phone number, my wife's number. And again, if you want to send us pictures, send us just any information, updates on how you're doing. Some of you have. Thank you for that. Yes. Please let us know. We want to know about that as well. Hopefully we can be meeting together, eventually doing a video together with coming from all of you guys as well, and maybe we can do something from the classroom there at Calvario as well. So thank you for that, guys. Thank you for tuning in.
Thank you. Have a good day, good night, depending on when you watch this. And
all right, guys, we'll see you soon. Thank you.
Thank you.